What's going on, everyone? This is Mark here with Anastacio with my partner James. We're going to switch it up and go to empty hand, and I want to go over some Filipino martial arts takedowns. Now, they're not all Filipino martial arts. To give you guys a quick background, Anastacio derives from a system called Bias Tres Manos, and in Bias Tres Manos, there's a lot of silat influence. So you might see some similar techniques, and then you might see some stuff from Jiu-Jitsu, which has a big influence on Anastacio as well. So a lot of these are going to come from a particular position, whether it's double overhooks, underhook overhook. We call it like a submissive position. So I'm not going to just try to take down James from standing. He has too much base, he has too much balance, so we won't necessarily work into how we get there, but we're going to be able just to show you the separate takedowns on their own. So as you guys may already know, we have something that we dub as the full circle, and that's accomplished from an underhook on a lead arm, and then an overhook or frame against the neck. Now I don't want to spend too much time on this because I did a whole video on this before, but basically it's a rotating effect like so, where I can take my partner down. Okay? So you can do that with your arms, you can do that with your legs as well, and you know, there's a whole different way that you can do it as well. There's plenty of variations, but I'm not going to take down my partner too hard. I want to show you guys the fine lines and give you a little bit more context to it. The one I want to spend a little bit more time on now is in this particular position, sometimes we end up in an over-under, sometimes we end up with an overhook and a frame instead. So when I get this overhook, what I want to do is I want to pull him close to me. I want to get my right foot behind James' right foot. But when I do that, I don't want to step and almost like be dramatic with it, because then he's going to do this throw right back to me. So when I do that, I want to make sure that I can sit down on his hip and crash that down like so. When I get there, I'm going to get my right arm, I'm going to go across his collarbones. I'm going to latch onto this, pull it down almost as if it was a seatbelt throw, and he's going to come right down to the front like that. Okay? And I could be a little bit more aggressive with that, but essentially it's more of a takedown than it is a throw, right? So I'll show you that from the other side now. Again, we end up this time from here, we end up on an overhook instead with the frame. Okay? I'm going to step, make sure that my leg breaks his base. I come over this way, pull, and I'm going to have him triple over my leg here. In some cases, you can pick that leg up, right, and do it more like an assault-geri or like a judo throw. But as long as you have a stronger base and you break his base, it's a lot easier to make him kind of just slide down. It's a lot more accomplishable if you have a weapon in your hand as well. So don't forget that even though these are being demonstrated in an empty hand, you can still do that with a stick or a knife in your hand as well, with slight modifications. Okay, so the next one I want to show you guys is what we call an arm drag. So you guys mostly know an arm drag, if you guys are fans of other martial arts, as something like this, where you can use it as a transition. Very, very effective. So for this particular takedown, it's a little bit more about timing. If I arm drag him like this, and I cause that step here, I want to run my shoulder into James's shoulder, almost like I'm shrugging him, right? And so I'm off balancing him with a throw, and I'm stopping him here. And that's going to cause him to get wobbled. Then I'm just going to clasp my hand, I'm going to turn to the side, and again he's going to break down over my leg. Right? So when you do that, it's important to, again, establish a base when you turn as opposed to just here. Otherwise you're going to twist over and over and over and over again. Right? So from another angle, and you'll have to pardon me, James, but when I pull like this, I turn and I bring him down like so. Now if I were to hold on to that really, really tight, I can put him into almost like a kimura. But again, I just want to make sure that I can demonstrate to you that without hurting my partner right now. When we move into the next one now, this is going to be a very heavy influence jiu-jitsu takedown. So some cases we're on the inside, some cases we're on the outside, right? So this would be like an outside armbar or a 2-on-1 control. Right, from here I can reach over or reach straight. That part is subjective. But let's just say I reach over, I'm going to bend my legs, I'm going to look for the legs closest in between my two. When I grab it, I'm going to try to grab towards his shin or towards his ankle. And when I grab it and I'm going to go up, I want to make sure that I'm not looking down. So I sit, I look up, I lift, and he's going to trip over the back of my leg here. Now it's important that I learn how to rotate out of this, because if I rotate this way, I'm going to get a nice kick to the groin. So I make sure that I rotate out the other way. And from here, we have heel hooks and stomps and so on and so forth. Okay, so from this side here, or the outside like so. Okay, now if you notice right now, James is in a left lead. and his right leg's a little further away from me, right? So in that particular case, I may have to rotate him a little bit more, or I just myself might have to move myself back. So it depends, again, on the setup. We're not looking at that right now. What we get over here, I reach over, look up, strong base, lift. Rotate out this way. Again, you can lock, stomp, drag, so on and so forth. So those are kind of the big, gross motor skill takedowns. We have very slight ones. This is the last one I want to show you guys, which is basically a base walk. Anytime I end up in a position like this, I can look down at his legs, and I can overload that leg. And from there, I can sweep it one way, I can bring him back and do another takedown. But essentially, I want him off balance, so if I decide to detach myself, I can use that as a great entry towards striking, where he has to worry about his balance, not about my attacks, right? So we have a base sweep in this variation here like this. We can walk it this way. Okay, if, let's say he was right foot in front, I did that same process. Sorry, you can push that. Did that same process, and see that foot's a little bit too far, I can walk with my other foot. As long as I have control over his upper body and he can't really stabilize himself by standing up, it's very easy for me to pick apart his legs, right? So there's a very, it's a very C-lot influence part to our empty hand. When I'm flowing like so, I always want to make sure that there's an off balance here. So either I take him down, or I hit him with strikes he can't defend, right? So those are essentially in a nutshell the takedowns that we do in Anastacio Kali. Again, there's plenty of variations. Those aren't the only ways we do it, but it's good to have options, and it's good to understand that no matter what point of contact you're in with your partner, as long as you can create a position or control a position, you can find your way to a takedown, and then from there, hopefully that makes the playing field slightly to your favor, right? So if you guys did enjoy that video, make sure you try that with a partner, make sure you guys got mats, make sure you're not slamming each other to the ground, but do give this video a thumbs up, help this channel grow. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Make sure you check us out at AnastacioKali.com. We got a live virtual seminar coming your way very, very shortly, and we got plenty of new things coming out, so make sure you guys click that notification bell, stay up to date with all of our posts, make sure that you're on page with us if you do want to train with us. And until next time, catch you guys then.